Welcome to another episode of the Kingdom First podcast. I don't know what episode it is because, as I always say, it's more about the wisdom and truth that we're going to learn here. And I have a very special guest, Coach B, Brandon McDowell, who is my best friend, my brother, freaking my blood brother through life. What's up, B? Introduce yourself, and yeah, let's get into it.
What up, peeps? Coach B here, as Coach Trey said. Super pumped to be on the podcast. Me and him have had conversations about this for how long now? I don't even know, like a couple years now, just trying to do it. It's cool to be here.
Yeah, we've talked about starting a podcast like ourselves individually, and like the way the Kingdom First podcast came about is like there's calling on my life for ministry. It's like I don't even know. I just got to start a podcast and start talking more about Jesus. And Brandon's like, dude, we got to get this thing rocking and rolling. So here we are. We have absolutely no plan as normal. We're just going to kind of get into this thing and rip. But I'm really going to be asking B some questions here and just a little bit about his background, realistically, kind of his walk with Christ, his walk in the company, and kind of the work we do together. And we're just going to kind of start there. And I just want to back all the way up, Brandon, to like tell me about like following Christ for you or church or whatever, wherever you want to start as like a young kid, because I think that's an important place for us all to start to help people.
Yeah, man. So I think the first like wave of me going to church was I was a young kid, probably, man, I would probably say like 10, 12, 10 to 12, somewhere around in that range. And my my grandmother, my mom's mom, was a huge churchgoer, massive in the church, and she would always just want us to come to church when we stayed with them. So we'd always have to go to their house. We go to her house on the weekends or during the week, during summertime, and she would always go to church. Uh, Needless to say, me being 12 years old, like my parents never went to church, like we never did the thing. So when we go hang out with them, like I'm just like, oh, I gotta go to church on Sunday. Like here we go. And this was like and I'm talking like a true like Southern Baptist church, like true Southern Baptist. Like they're screaming at you. This dude is like, I don't know how he hasn't lost his voice, like up there preaching. So that's like my first kind of like going to church. Realistically, is like I want to an extent, I want to say, in my point of view, at 12 years old, I was forced to go to church, like, because I didn't want to go. I was like, dude, it's my summer vacation. I don't want to go to church. I'm 12 years old. I can do other things. I'd rather go to the pool or go outside. So that was like the first kind of like journey into the church that I had. Obviously, never really paid attention. Didn't really. It was like, all right, cool, whatever. I'll just go. Didn't do anything because I'm just going to be here for the weekend and go home. And what does it matter? Fast forward to a few years later, not really kind of hanging out with her, going to her house because her and mom had kind of like a falling out. Realistically, didn't really have much to do with that, and stopped going to church with her. And then never really stepped foot inside of a church for quite a few years until we moved to New Hope when I was probably 15, 16 years old when I started high school. Uh, mom Mom was like, hey, like I want us to start going to church. There's a church right up the road from where we lived, where mom still lives currently. Um, and we just started going to that church. Once again, I'm 15 years old. I'm like, man, here we go again. Obviously, 15 years old. I kind of didn't want to. I was like, it's worse. Like now I'm a 15-year-old teenager, and I'm just like, here we go. So we started going to church there, and at the start of it, I was kind of like, me not knowing like had any other perspective of church. Like I went to the Southern Baptist church, so that's all I ever knew. Like the yelling, the screaming. So we went to this church, the New Hope United Methodist Church, and we went to the service, and I'm like, wow, this guy actually is like, it's kind of chill, it's kind of mellow. He's speaking a good sermon, and I was like, oh, okay, this isn't so bad. Long story short, we kind of like went to church more often, quite more often there, and then we finally became members of that church. We officially became members of that church. I think probably after going there for like almost a year, we finally became members of the church, and then us and the family went to church every Sunday. For until my the rest of my high school career, realistically, and then I got out of high school. Um, it kind of fell off the wayside after I got out of high school. We'd kind of hit or miss on church every now and then or something like that. Still went to the same church, but never kind of like once again. I was still a young guy. I was just didn't know the true like aspects, right? Didn't I was just going to go, just say I went. We were baptized there. Uh, on top of that, so we were also I was rebaptized there. On top of that, at that church too. So
So
we would go there.
by this time you've been baptized twice. I didn't mean to interrupt, but I just want
Yes,
to make
yes.
sure.
By the,
Okay.
yeah, I sorry to mention. Yeah, I was also baptized at the at the Baptist church that I used to go with my grandmother because like I remember one sermon he was preaching about if you don't get baptized you're going to hell, and me as an 11-year-old kid, I was like, doesn't sound fun. Let me go get baptized. So yeah, this is the second time that I've been baptized going to this church that we had joined. Um, having a bet having a better understanding of having a better understanding of it, but not truly understanding it. So, um, yeah, graduated high school, got baptized, and then kind of went to that church off and on, and then um, I would say that happened for like a good, probably like I want to say a few more years. I can't really exactly put a number on it, but um, eventually, I met my now wife Sarah. We started dating, um, and then the current pastor, uh, Joe, he was retiring, and there was this like, hey, like this new pastor's coming in, and he's really really good, and I was like, all right, well, let me give him a shot because I really want to kind of see what he's got because I really want to try to learn and figure this stuff out, and I really want to like be involved, like I really want to understand, and up until this point I was just kind of going, and then in comes, and I know Trey knows this guy very very well, Pastor Bobby. Um, in comes
I,
Pastor Bobby. Go ahead.
I got to pause you. I got to pause you before you get there because I want to make sure this picture is painted clearly. So, number one, correct me if I say anything wrong. You pretty much were brought up in church, right?
Yes.
But what I'm hearing, and I think this is important, brother, to help people, did you ever have a true relationship with Jesus through all those years? Okay, right? And I think many of us can relate to that. So, and then after high school, you continued going to church, correct or incorrect?
Yes, continued going
Okay, so you
after high school.
continued going to church, and that's when you met your now wife, Sarah, right?
Yeah.
Before we go any farther, Sarah's an important part of the story. How has yours and Sarah's relationship played into church at that time post high school?
Uh, it was better. It got better because Sarah also grew up in church, all her life. Her grandfather was a pastor for a Methodist preacher for I can't even remember when. So she grew up in the church and she knew way more than I did. Right? She truly understood the of what going to church meant. So she grew up in church just like I did, but from the point of view is like she truly enjoyed going to church versus me, like I would feel like I was being forced to go to church, if that makes
Yep.
sense.
Yeah, 100%. I don't want to leave Sarah out of this story because partly I'm passionate about having this conversation with you, bro, because I love seeing the work that God does on our lives, and knowing you and being so close with you now and sitting back and obviously my journey. Sarah's a very important part of your walk with Christ, and it's funny how kind of all that comes full circle. So we're out of high school. You're dating Sarah. There's a new pastor coming to the church. How old are you now when Pastor Bobby, who you were going to say is coming to church?
I'm probably in my 20s at this point.
Okay, is this before
Early
or
20s.
after? So we've met by this point.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Me and you have met by this point. Yes.
Okay. So at this point, Brandon and I meet at a factory called Kennametal, right? And we started because I want to make sure throughout this whole story we get this all out there, and so there's a lot. So throughout this time, Brandon, after high school, gets his dad, who has now passed away, rest in peace, Mike McDowell, got him a job at this place called Kennametal, and my dad got me a job there too.
Same
And
day.
same day, we came in with the same orientation group. So if you guys are wondering how we met, it was that. And I'm going to kind of let Brandon speak on who I was as a character, and even himself, who he was as a character throughout that point, because I think this sets Jesus up, which is the goal of this podcast, sets Jesus up really nice for the end of this. So
So, like, are you talking about like when we met officially and like what I thought of you and like where I was at and stuff like that?
Well, what our relationship was when we met, because we were completely different, right? It's like, and how are we
Yeah.
now today? It's like, oh, this is my blood brother. Like, well, if we got to bury a dead body together, we will, and we won't even ask what happened until after the fact. Like, how do we go from that to, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So, yeah, we got a job at the same spot. Our dads actually got us a job because they worked together there for years. Had the same, yeah, same income, same group. And at first, like, I kind of I saw him, and at first I was like, I'm not a good judge of character, but like when I looked at Trey, and I was like, oh, okay, this guy's probably looks a little stuck up. Like, I'm not even gonna, like, kind of talk to him. I'm just gonna be like,
Mm-hmm.
whatever.
Yeah.
Um, and then so I was like, okay, and I'm doing my own thing. I'm no better, right? I'm just kind of like, ah, cool. I got my own crowd. This guy seems like he's doing his own thing. Um, no big deal. And then we worked there. I want to say it wasn't even a year yet. I don't think. And then a guy that me and him both used to work with, good old Connor Jarrell.
Shout out Connor Jarrell if you're listening to
Shout out
this.
Connor Jarrell if he's listening. Um, we all used to go outside for break, and there was a little table out there, and Trey used to go out there, and all of us used to go out there. And kid you not, I used to never talk to him. I used to never talk to Trey even when he was out there. I was just like whatever. Um, so Connor Jarrell comes out there, and he's like, "Hey, like I want to start working out," and I'm just like, "Yeah, that's a great idea. Let's do it." And then he asked Trey, he's like, "Yeah, man, let's do it." So. Uh, I think a week later, we all actually started going to, was it Fit for Life? I think it was Fit for
For
Life.
life, bro. A lot of
Fit
good
for Life.
memories of that gym.
Once again, I'm still not talking to you, right? Me and you really haven't even spoken or done anything. Like, I just know you're going to Fit for Life because I'm still over there working out with Connor and uh, Daniel, the other guy that was starting to work out with us. Like, I'm doing my own thing over there, and Trey's over here running on the treadmill. And I'm just like, what is this crazy dude doing? Like, why is he running on? Like, he's gonna come to the gym and work out. Like, he's gonna run on a treadmill. Like, why is he doing that? Uh, so we're doing that. We start working out, and then, as most people do, the first couple weeks of their fitness journey, it's all cool and fun, and then everybody starts to, bail out. Like, oh, I'm gonna go do this instead, or I gotta go do this. So I remember one specific night, and this was kind of like the shift. I know Trey probably remembers this too, but I'll never forget it. Is I was in there by myself one night because Connor was like, oh, "I'm gonna go do this." And I'm like, "No, I'm going to work out, dude. Like, I'm trying to, not be a wiener." Uh, and I remember Trey once again running on the treadmill as he always did. Um, and he gets off the treadmill. He comes up to me. He's like, "Dude, like, where's everybody at?" And I was like, "I don't know." And he specifically is like, "Well, why don't me and you start working out together?" I was like, "Well, let's do it." And then Bob's your uncle. Me and him, we worked second shift together for, oh, man, a long
Years,
time,
dude.
years. Worked second shift together for years, and then we just started going to Fit for Life. Those were like some of the best times. Like Fit for Life at midnight. Me and him would be in there till like 1 or 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, just like gym to ourselves, just getting after it for quite a bit of time. And I think that was kind of like the start of our friendship, like per se.
Yeah, 100%. And I think it's cool, as we unpack all this throughout this time, guys, is like me and Brandon. So fitness was a thing for me that, like, for those who don't know, it like got me off doing hardcore drugs, but I was still kind of dabbling. Like, I would go run on the treadmill or work out, and I would still like smoke cigarettes on the way home, right? And it was like I kept trying to just trade out these things in my life. So like during this time when I knew Brandon, like there was like still this piece of Trey where I was behind closed doors using like hardcore substances too, not just smoking marijuana, like hardcore substances. And, the gym was like not only this place where we met, but it was also this thing that, I mean, it saved my life. The gym quite literally saved my life. That's why I talk about it every single day ad nauseum to this day. And, me and Brandon, we go through this, weight loss journey. Pretty much everybody quits. And then me and Brandon kind of have like a falling out, right? So like me and Brandon, and more, it was both sides of the coin. Brandon kind of like stopped showing up for himself. And then I had a big ego and I was just kind of like, for lack of a better term, like F this, like I still have
A
that
year.
piece of me.
It was
Yeah.
a year.
And
We didn't speak for a year, guys. I just want you guys to know that. Like, you see our friendship now. We did not talk to each other for an entire year because of those said things.
yeah, and then here's the thing, like my dad, so I started I was going to become a personal trainer because fitness had such an impact on my life. I was like, yo, it got me off of drugs. It got me in shape. It got me confident. I was like, I don't know what I got to do, but I'm going to build a gym and I'm going to figure this out. Point blank, period. So I've started, I sold my 68 C10, bought gym equipment, and I put a gym at my dad's place, started in my garage. And my dad's like, I'm going to invite Brandon to come work out. And I was like, nah, F that, dude. He quit, right? My ego, right? Ego and pride. Dad's like, no, I'm going to invite him. And he invited him. And then we just like clicked back again. There was no like, it was like this stupid thing of like not communication. But then we got it, we got into powerlifting. So, Brandon's like, hey man, like, can you like teach me how to powerlift? Cause I was powerlifting at the time. And that's really where I think we started to grow a bond, was through powerlifting. And I started coaching you.
100%. 100%. Yeah. It's like when we went from like friendship. Yeah. Shout out to Tracy for bringing us back together.
Shout out to you, Pops. I know you're going to listen to this.
Shout out to Tracy for bringing us back together. He's like, I remember having a side note. I remember me and him actually talking about this a while back. He's like, I don't know what y'all got mad about, but like, I think that was the dumbest thing y'all ever got mad about. I was like, you're right. It was, but that's who we were. But shout out to Tracy for bringing us back together. And then, yeah, I started going there, and then I seen you were dabbling in the powerlifting stuff. And I was like, dude, this looks pretty cool. Like, I think I want to try that. Like, I want to do something. I want to compete at something. And that's when I asked him, I was like, hey dude, can you coach me in powerlifting? And he's like, yeah, 100%. I got you. And I think, yeah, that's kind of like where our relationship took the next step. The next level is like the coaching relationship. That was kind of where it like took the next step for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And like, for those who don't know, like, Brandon ended up being really good at powerlifting. Like, I learned that I was a better coach than a powerlifter. And, you know, Brandon, you know, I coached him all the way to nationals. He was number one in the state at one point. And correct me if I'm wrong, Brandon, to me, it's like one of the first things in your life that you were like, yo, I'm like good at this thing. Like, I'm gonna do this.
Yeah, it was the first, it was actually, yeah, the first iteration of me actually saying like, oh, wow, I'm actually good. Because I tried to play sports when I was in school. Like, I love baseball, wasn't good at it. Wasn't like the stud, but like it was kind of whatever. But this was something I'm like, oh, I'm good at this. Like, and this is once again not me trying to toot my own horn, but like, dude, I became the best in in the number one in the state in my weight class. And then it was the first time I tasted like, hey, success, and hey, dude, you're actually really really good at this. Like, you could take this somewhere. So yeah, that was definitely for sure that.
What's cool too about Brandon that a lot of you guys don't know, Brandon was like one of the first people that like ever paid me for like quote unquote online coaching. It was like $50 a month or something, you know. But he was like the first one. He's been around for forever. But here's the thing that I want to highlight about Brandon, even to this day. He is one of the most coachable people on the planet. Like he always was just like, all right, Trey like knows what to do. He's guiding me. Freaking, I'm just gonna listen to him. Like, and that's, I mean, that's the trait of not only a good coach now that he is, but to be a great leader, you have to follow. You have to be able to follow people. Like you can never lead people if you can't submit and follow people. So like throughout Brandon's experience is really cool. Is like, you know, I'm powerlifting, then end up building like a powerlifting team. And Brandon's like the strongest on the team. I mean, we had like 8 to 10 people at one point. We were traveling around all these different meets, and like powerlifting was like the thing. And then we ended up moving into a second location, still coaching Brandon. We're at the second gym location now, and we're going to skip a couple parts in there, but we got to the second location, and Brandon kind of hits me up one day. He's like, dude, I want to like do what you do. Like, he was seeing me train all these people, and I had ended up quitting Kennametal, right? I quit the job there, and I went all in on my business, and business freaking grew. Like, I gave my life up for that thing, and Brandon's like, dude, I want to do what you do, right? And I was like, cool, dude, you're either all in or all out. Now, keep in mind, guys, I didn't really know how to run a business. I mean, not to the degree that I know how to now, you know, 10 years later. And I also didn't have money to pay him. I was like, I just quit my job. I had a family to support. And I was like, you're either all in or you're all out. He's like, all right, I'm going to go talk to my wife. He goes and talks to his wife.
Ain't that a funny conversation?
Yeah, he goes and talks to his wife. Hold on one second. And then he calls me. He's like, bro, I'm all in. And I was like, okay. And I'm not going to lie. I got off the phone. I was like, oh, crap. He's freaking all in. We got to figure this out. But give me your view on that, man.
Yeah, so dude, honestly, I'll go back. Like, I can remember the exact question that I asked you. We were at Power Mountain Showcase at MC Barbell Club, my first like meet that I like went 9 for 9 at. And we were at our cabin, and I specifically remember asking you, dude. I was like, "Hey, like, dude, like, I think it's so cool you do what you do now. Like, is it? Do you think I could do that?" And your exact words was like, "Yes, but it's not easy. It's not." He's like, "You have to be willing to do it." And then now, fast forward, second location, like, I finally am like, "All right, dude, I really want to do this. I think I want to be like, I want to do that stuff. Like, I felt like called to go do that." So yeah, it's just like, dude, like, I want to help, I want to do this. And Trey's like, "All right, dude, like, exactly what he said is like, hey, like, all right, dude, I need you either all in or all out. Like, you can't be halfway in. Like, you need to be either be like, hey, like, all right, cool, I'm in, or you're out." And yeah, I was like, well, I was like, well, let me go talk to Sarah. Like, and actually, shout out to Sarah because Sarah was one of
Huge
those
shout out
ones.
to Sarah, dude.
One of those ones. She was just like, this is exactly what my wife said. She's like, hey, if you feel like you want to do that and you feel like it's the right move to make, then I'm going to support you either way. Knowing full well exactly what he said, like, no money to pay me, like,
I had no idea
no
what I was doing.
no idea. So it's like, all right, and point of interest too. Like, I'm leaving a job, right? 401k, retirement, good pay, right? It was good paying job, to do this, to like go into the unknown. But I'm like, dude, like, no, this is what I want to do. And then yeah, long story short, yeah, I called him. I was like, all right, I'm all in. And he was like, and then he didn't tell me till after the fact, but on the phone he's like, yeah, bro, let's go, I love it. And then now he's like, I don't know what. Oh God.
Now, and I will say on top of that, like I was at the point in my business, like I was super busy. Like, I mean, I was training all the people in the town, like, and I think we have to paint this picture too. The town that we were in is not a town for success. It's just not, like, especially for the gym business. Everybody literally told me, Trey, you'll never build a successful gym there. And I was like, okay. And I love when people tell me I can't do stuff. I'm like, okay, cool. Put that in my back pocket. I'm going to show you, right? But, Brandon, then he's working 12-hour shifts at Kennemetal still, and he's helping me. And so he was an unpaid intern for me for months. I don't even remember how long, but it was months on end. So keep in mind two things real quick. The amount of risk you guys are willing to take will dictate the level of success that you have in life. Brandon is able to sit in this seat now and literally walk a life full of purpose because he took a massive risk, right? I was able to build this company because I took massive risk, and I still take massive risk every day. But I want to give that to you guys. If you're wondering, like, well, man, how do I break free from my regular job like Brandon and Trey did? Well, we weren't freaking scared. And I don't know any other easy way to say it. And let me back up. We actually were scared. We just did it anyway. Let me just back up. We were scared. We did it anyway. And that's what risk is. So I want to give you guys that. So, and then on top of that, Brandon, right? All this to say, let's bring this back to Jesus. Neither one of us is following Jesus right now. Okay. Like, we've both been saved at young ages, all that stuff, but neither one of us have a true relationship with Jesus, right? Not like we do to the degree now that we talk about. So as this place grows, Brandon ends up, quitting his job. Keep in mind, I did not pay Brandon $1, and he never asked for $1. Never. Brandon, you know what's so cool, dude? I got 3 messages a day on Instagram. Hey, can I come work for you? Like, I'm a coach. And I just read it and I'm like, nah, you can't. You can't. Like, you want to come work for free? I give that to aspiring people to grow in somewhere you want to grow. Like, and I want Brandon to be the poster child for that. Like, once again, the reason he is where he is today, he never asked for $1. He earned every bit of where he's at. To this day, he's never asked for a raise. Like, he grows in his career, but like, he's just like, I know if the company's growing and I do what I'm supposed to do, Trey's going to look out for me, right? And that trait alone, guys, will take you so far in your life, it's not even funny. So I wanted to kind of give Brandon his flowers on that. For anybody that may be like, what's cool about this, Brandon, there's like young Trey's watching this and young Brandon's watching this. That's what's super cool. So it's like we get to paint the picture for him, and walk through that. Now, Brandon, talk about when you quit your job, bro, and you're like, all right, I'm working full-time for Trey now.
Oh, I mean, I can take you to the exact day. I remember I put in a 4-week notice because I was already shadowing you for like, kind of like here and there, because I was still working my full-time job as I was shadowing you.
Hey, can I pause you real quick?
Yeah,
And I don't mean to do this, but I screwed up here. What I meant to bring, and I got excited as I often do. Brandon, I want to shout out Sarah real quick, okay? Brandon's working full-time 12-hour shifts, and on his days off, he is shadowing me all day without getting paid a $0, not spending time with his wife. And his wife, throughout this whole point, I mean, I don't know what their conversations were at dinner, but he was able to do it, right? And that's really all that matters. Of course, she probably wasn't pumped about it all the time, as she shouldn't have been. But I wanted to give Sarah her full flowers there. Back to you.
Yeah, no, she deserves every flower that we want to give her. Cause like, yeah, she may not have been happy about it, but she never spoke. She's like, hey, like I'm here for you either way. Like I'm here to support you either way. Yes, yeah, working 12 hours, shadowing there all day, every day on my days off because like, dude, I want this. And then finally, I'm like, all right, well, I put in a 4 week notice. I worked 2 weeks of the 4 week notice, and I remember literally sitting there on a machine at work at Kennemetal, and it was like 4 o'clock, and I'm just like, man, dude, screw this. Like, I'm done. Like, so I just literally walked into my supervisor, old Ron's office, laid my badge down, and I walked out. And I called Trey. I was like, I'll be there tomorrow morning. Like, what time you need me? He's like, all right, be there at 5. And sure enough, I was there. And then I showed up every day after that. And I think the biggest thing too is like, and Trey could probably attest to it, is like every day that I showed up, I'm over here just soaking up stuff like a sponge. And that's what I want to give, like Trey said, the young Treys and the young Brandons out there too that are like aspiring to do this and like want to jump in. Like, take every opportunity that you can to learn from the person that you want to try to learn from or be who you want to be. Because like, I'm in there in the room, I'm showing up on the days that I'm off. I'm showing up even the days that I quit my job. And I'm just like, dude, like I'm trying to soak it up. Like, hey, and Trey can attest to this. I'm over here texting him, hey, like, what time do you want me to be there? Like, when can I be there? Like, how long can I be there? Like, can I come to this? Just trying to soak every single thing up that I can.
Yeah, and I think it's important too, is like that's more valuable than any amount of money. Because so along this way, guys, Brandon has saw like, even when I didn't have money, guys, I was maxing out credit cards and investing in mentors. And people can say what they want about like, that's not a good financial decision, but like, who has the last laugh of where I'm sitting now? Like, I remember people telling me that's a bad idea. If you want to bet on somebody, bet on yourself, man. Right? So like, Brandon saw me betting on myself, and he's like, yo, Trey has something that I want, like, and like, just me being in that room, because he's in the rooms with these other people, is like, I'm gonna get massive value from that. Like, I'm telling you, what holds so many people back, bro, is they're too worried about freaking money, dude. Like, what are you gonna pay me, Brandon? How many people have came in to the business over the years that have shadowed and then quit because they didn't get a paycheck? Multiple.
Multiple.
That probably sit back and watch now, bro, and they're like, dang, dude, I should have freaking hung on.
That, right? Or they want a paycheck, or they're, hey, like, I need more money.
Yeah, one or the other.
I need a, and it goes back to like what you said to, is like, bro, I can't even remember. I don't think I've ever asked you for a raise ever.
You haven't. And you think about the revenue that you made when you first started to the revenue you make now. It's not even crazy. Yeah, you can't even freaking put it in the same category, and that comes from like, it's just such an important piece, guys. If somebody has knowledge and information to share with you, you can't put a price tag on that. And then you get hands-on experience underneath them. That is like I've paid hundreds and thousands of dollars myself to get that from people. So if you can get that from somebody for free and just giving up your time, please, for the love of God, you better take every second of it like Brandon did, right? Because that's why, is sitting where he is today. I think we'll kind of fast forward a little bit, Brandon. So like, we're in this gym, essentially get Brandon to the point where he's pretty much running the gym and I can focus on building the business, right? So he's pretty much doing all the sessions, training, one-on-one personal training. Yes, for those listening, we're not just some random people that say we're online coaches. We actually worked with people, real people in person for years and years and years, which is really important. And throughout this time, the business kept growing, and, we got an opportunity to move into a downtown location. And here's something funny, guys. We got the opportunity to move into this downtown location. I could not even afford to pay the first month's rent, but I took the opportunity. Literally, I took out a loan to buy more equipment. We were marketing it on social media, like going to have this grand opening behind closed doors. I knew I couldn't even afford to pay for the place. I knew that, like, yo, when we move in, like, we got to make some money. And Brandon didn't. Like, nobody knew this at the time. I share that with you guys again because the amount of success you will receive in life is by the risk you're willing to take, right? Well, we move into this place, have an awesome grand opening. We were in that location for 3 years. And, Brandon, once again, we kind of moved our business model over to like small group personal training. And there's an important piece that happens in between this transition. And you can go all the way back on my Instagram and see this, right? Is my brother was killed, right? And before we moved into this new location, when my brother was killed, I was atheist at the time, guys. And when I tell you my brother was killed, I completely checked out of the business. I checked out of life, as a matter of fact. Like you could have literally, I would have paid somebody to put a barrel in my mouth and pulled the trigger. And I'm not, people say that like I mean that. And I think Brandon sitting in front of me today can attest to that. Him seeing me at that time. And I share that to say, guys, like during this time, this business is growing, right? Before we moved into a new location, and I couldn't even function. Like I didn't shower for 2 weeks. I literally was so dark it wasn't even funny. And Brandon kept the business going. And here's the funny part. Brandon had no idea how to keep the business going, right? I'm just like, yo, I can't even see the light of day. I can't even get myself to take a bath. So yeah, here's this business. Somebody's got to do something with it. And Brandon kept it going, right? He kept this freaking business rolling right along through the chaos. Like Brandon, talk to me about that. Talk to me about that experience, bro.
It was a wild time, dude. Because honestly, bro, like I had just started working for you full time. Literally, it was very fresh. I was still kind of shadowing you per se. I wasn't fully coaching every session yet. Like I maybe like 1 or 2 sessions here or there with you still kind of in the background, like making sure I'm doing everything. So I'm not even fully like a coach yet per se. You know, I'm not even a full trainer yet. And then yeah, it was very fresh. And then I remember specifically one morning I'm at the gym and I was like, dude, where's Trey at? And it wasn't, I don't think even think it was a message from you. I don't even know who it was from, but I remember it was a text message that said, hey, Trey's brother was just killed in a car accident. And I was like, oh my God. And I don't even think I didn't reach out to you. I didn't call you. I had a lot of people, they were like, well, how's Trey? And I was like, I mean, in my brain, obviously, once again, to reiterate, guys, like we are not anywhere near Christ yet at all. Nowhere near.
I'm super far away from Christ.
Super
We're
far.
both drinking and smoking. Yeah.
So my brain was like, immediate was like, well, how do you think he is? His brother was just killed. Like, what do you think? So I'm over here trying to figure out how to like, dude, I don't know how to do, like, I don't know how to write programs. I don't know how, I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. I know that like, hey, like, I need to be here because like, I know Trey can attest to this. Cause like, dude, he could have cared less if I went home and like, not even open the doors anymore. He could have cared less. He'd have been like, he's like, whatever, dude. If I'd have texted Trey and said, hey, dude, I'm going to go back to Kenham, he'd be like, whatever. I don't care. Let it die. So that was the point that we were at. So yeah, it was just kind of, but one of those things like, no, this is what I'm going to do. Like I'm committed to this. Like I'm going to figure this out and I'm going to be there for him when I need to be. And I think right there, dude, I don't know if you've ever like thought about this, but like now that I'm talking about it, I think that was our next level up in our friendship and our relationship was that.
Yeah, I agree.
Because,
yeah, go ahead.
No, it's because I remember specifically like I almost like didn't go see you that day that I went and seen you. I was like, I don't know, because I'm like I know you well enough by now, and I'm just like I'm like I don't think he wants to see anybody, to be honest with you. And I remember specifically opening that door, dude, and like you immediately just gave me a hug. Like you just immediately gave me a hug and didn't even think twice about it. And I was like, dude, I'm just like, dude, I love you, man. Like I can't imagine what you're going through right now, but like I'm here for you either way. Like whatever you got to do. Like so I think that right there was like solidified like the level of relationship that we have now. Is like immediately when I opened the door, you just immediately gave me a hug. Like I'll have that ingrained in my heart forever.
Yeah, bro, you have no idea what that meant to me. I explained going back to what Brandon said about, I wouldn't have cared. I didn't because I was so selfish to the point like I just wanted to off myself. And I think anybody here, the word depression, bro, is thrown around, like kind of like anything. Like I think, and I'm not judging people, but people throw around the word depression just for having a rough day. Like that's life. Like we have tough days. We might even have tough weeks. Might even have tough seasons. But I want to give everybody like a clear depiction of what depression and like really wanting to take your own life looks like. And it was in this moment, there was this piece of Trey that I wanted to hug everybody, but I also didn't want anybody to see my face. And it was like I was literally sitting in this middle ground of hell of like, I knew how many people cared about me, and people kept coming by the house, all these different things. But like when Brandon came by, it was super special because we already had such a deep relationship in general. But it definitely was the next thing. I think just dude, like it's just important for us to encourage people, dude. If something happens to your homie, dude, or your friend, or like, dude, just roll up and go see them. Like, don't even like, because the worst case is they just tell you to leave. The best case is they hug you and they're like, "Dear God, dude, thank you so much for coming to see me." Because there is resistance to that. You know, it reminds me of when you lost your dad, saying, "I just rolled up, bro. I was like, I'm on the way. Like, I'm just," and it was because of that same moment. But yeah, what a power. You're right. That was definitely the next thing of our relationship for sure, of seeing that. Because here's the thing, bro, and to everybody listening, I think about now, like I told you, people reach out to me every day wanting to come work for the company now. And people want to jump on the train when things are going good, right? But like the fact that like you're there, it's like, all right, the Trey, who is my friend at this time, is also my boss. Realistically wants to take his own life and just pretty much gave this business up in the moment. Those people are the people that are there for you, or the person, bro, that like, hey, will you coach me when I had pretty much no clients? I had like two other clients, right? It's like the trust in people when like they have nothing is like that's what shows people who really has your back. So yeah, I don't know if there's anything else you want to say on that moment, but we almost bypassed that, and that was a very important piece for sure.
Yeah, no, I wholeheartedly agree, and I think that's the thing too. Like, I know me and you've had conversations before talking about how people want to jump on the ship now. It's like, where were you at when the ship was burning? Where were you at when the ship was on fire? And that's what people like. They don't see that. Um, and that's the thing, dude. Like, and yeah, I agree with you, man. Like, if something like that happens to like your homie or your best friend, like just roll up, dude. Like, yeah, what's the worst that could happen? Like, they don't. What's the worst thing that you could have done? You could either didn't open the door for me and I would have just left, or you opened the door and you did what you did.
Yeah, it was so rough, dude, being in that position because I mean, we're pretty much. I mean, we had the town on lockdown as far as like training clients, all the athletes and stuff. I mean, we had a big impact in that community, and then
Very.
it was really wild experience. And then, kind of after that, guys, there's a video on my Instagram. That's what made me think about it. Throughout that process, I found Jesus, and this is really important to kind of when we started with Brandon's church story. Man, I went to take my own life. I'll never forget. I left the hospital with my mom. I was just like, I couldn't take this anymore. The doctor put me on antidepressants, on Vyvanse 70 milligrams. I was popping those. I wasn't eating. I was trying to get back into life, and I was just like, I just can't do this anymore. And I took a book with me called Mere Christianity by C.S. Lewis, who Matt Shelton gave to me. Shout out to Big Shooter,
Big
bro.
Shooter.
And I lock everything in my car. I leave the hospital with my mom, tell her I love her, and I'm like, this is it, man. I'm gonna end it, dude. And Jesus radically met me there. He showed me every single face that I've ever touched in my entire life, all the questions that I was gonna leave behind. I don't want to get fully into that, but like that was a big turning point in all this and how we are where we are today. And when we move into this new location, there's a video on my Instagram, and let me paint the picture for our gym that we're at currently, guys. Worldly music, hardcore hip hop, hardcore metal. Me and Brandon are drinking and smoking. Like, we're the good enough guys, right? Like we're doing good in life, business, cool careers, blah, blah, blah. But behind closed doors, we're not freaking leaders, dude. Okay? Because a leader sets themselves apart and does not do certain things because you are a leader. Which means if you're a leader listening to this and you think you can just skate by with drinking and smoking, you're not a leader and we'll see right through you. Okay? And I say that with love because we were in those positions. But in that time when I found Jesus, we moved to this new location. There's a video on my Instagram, and I said, hey guys, Jesus met me, and our new gym core values are going to be faith, family, and fitness. So we go from that to this, and we move in this new location, faith, family, fitness, start doing Bible studies there. We're listening to like gospel music, and we lost a lot of members. Like a lot of people did not come with us to that new gym because of that, right? And they're like, Trey is insane. Like, what do you mean you met Jesus, right? And we moved into this new location. We might not have been able to pay the bills. And then I hired a gym launch. I took a loan out to pay gym launch $42,000, guys. I want to paint this picture because the business was dying, right? We were having memberships, but I didn't really know how to build a business. And I learned sales, and we grew this thing into, oh my gosh, it
Oh
was
yeah, it
insane,
was
dude.
more than what we knew what to handle with because we never experienced that. Because like I'm gonna paint a picture, guys, of the difference in facility. Like our first facility, like our max class was what 6 people, and you're
And that was a
pushing.
big one.
And you're big. That's a big. And like this new space, dude. Like we had like people like coming to classes 12, 13 deep, and we're like, whoa, what do we do?
Sometimes 15, dude, people all hanging out outside. Like it was crazy. Like there was this point at the strength compound in Denton. I mean, there was the full house inside, 12 people trying to come in the door, this little lobby. Like we're trying to hire coaches. We're like scaling this business. And that was actually where I really learned business too, you know, and it was another point of like, I just shared that with you guys. I don't know if you guys heard me, right? I couldn't pay the bills and I took out a loan to pay Alex Ramos's company $42,000, right? People hear that and like, what? Guys, if you want to grow a business, you have to be willing to give your life up for it. What we have, and Brandon, what's cool, dude, is Brandon never knew any of this. I carried this weight behind closed doors because I think that's responsibility of a leader, right? Is like, I signed up for this. Brandon, have you ever not gotten a paycheck?
Nope.
Right? So it's like, that's something super important, guys, is to play that stuff out. But it comes back to betting on yourself, man. Just like Brandon's bet on himself, and I've continually bet on mine. And once again, while we're here today, and as this gym grows, right, it gets so big, we hire some employees, and like, we're just trying to kind of figure out, you know, what to do next. And I remember this one point, Brandon, this conversation you and I had of like, you know, we want to do online stuff. We're like, I'm kind of like over the gym stuff. And we tried to go that route and had no idea how to build that. So we like learned how to build a successful in-person gym. And then the online space was completely different, right? There were some other pieces of stuff that we're going to leave out there about personal relationships with me and things like that. But what I really want to get back to with Brandon is like throughout this experience. So like, dude, when I started talking about Jesus, like where were you at? Because you're at a completely different level spiritually now than you were then. It was like you were still kind of like, from my perspective, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I'm just telling you what I see and I look back now. You were still very like, I'm not really into this, like, you know, kind of like this old church thing, as I was like doing the Bible studies and all that. And once again, my perspective, I want to hear your perspective of where you were truly at, because we didn't really talk about it much.
Yeah, I mean, I still was like, yeah, you were like Bible studies, like doing, and I was just kind of like, I was better than I used to be. Let me rephrase that, because I'm still, and you've probably seen this, like I was kind of trying to learn, like once again, trying to soak up the sponge of like, all right, like I want to see what happens when you fully like give everything, right? Because I've seen what it does to him, right? I've seen what it does to you. I'm like, all right, cool. I want to experience this because I haven't done that. Obviously, I'm going to church now more periodically with my wife and my child, with Hudson, because Pastor Bobby is an amazing preacher. If those of you ever get a chance to listen to Pastor Bobby Lorton, you're not going to miss out.
The GOAT.
But I'm going to church. Like I'm more involved in the church, but there's still a piece of me that I'm just like, what am I missing? Like what am I missing? Because like I'm seeing you completely radically transformed, leading Bible studies, learning,
Preaching.
talking, preaching,
What the
preaching,
heck?
preaching. I'm just like, bro, what am I missing? Like what am I missing? And I'll be honest with you, bro. I don't think I've ever told you there was like a kind of a hint of jealousy in me there, because I was kind of the one that like brought you to the church. I'm like, hey, dude, why don't you come to church service that one time? So I'm like, I'm over here like I brought you to the church service. So like the flesh in me, I was like, I'm kind of like, dude, what the heck? Like, what is going on? I see God radically transform his life, but like I have not experienced it. I have not figured that out yet. Like I'm trying to figure out what the heck is going on. So that's kind of where I'm at that point.
Bro, I want to double down on that right there. Guys, that right there, hold on. That right there is, you saying that, you have no idea what that means to me, because throughout our Christian walks, that right there, bro, is what the Bible's talking about when it says the human heart is deceitful above all things. And no matter how good we think we are, because Brandon's never shared that with me, but the reason Brandon's never shared that with me is because of pride and ego. That right there shows his spiritual maturity. He's like, no, actually, dude, I was freaking jealous. Like, I'm the one who freaking brought you. He was. Like, I went to church with his family. The freaking Spirit of God came through Bobby's mouth into my heart, and I was I'm kind of psycho. Like, I'm like, I find something, I'm all in. Like, I'm freaking all in. So I appreciate you sharing that. And it goes to show, even to this day, bro, like, we still have those little things that pop up in our hearts and our minds of like, man, why am I like freaking a little jealous of that person? That sucks. And it's like, yeah, that's why we need Jesus, right? So throughout that time, Brandon kind of shared with where he was at, because that was the experience, right, of that. And we keep fast forwarding. I'm still obsessed with Jesus. Like, I mean, I built an altar in my office. Like, went absolutely just maniac with this stuff. I traded I took my fitness addiction and my drug addiction, and I put it into Jesus. I put it into following Jesus and fitness, and I got really, really into that. And the gym continues to grow as we're doing Bible studies, all those things. And as we just move forward, I think the turning point, once again, Brandon, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, when you started exploring Jesus more, and not even to the degree that you do now with where we're at with what we do in our company, was when your dad passed away. That was like a big
Mhm.
turning point. Do you agree or disagree?
100% agree. 100%.
Talk to us about that, man. So like growing up in
Uh,
church, kind of never really feeling it, and then that happening. Like how long ago was that? What did that do for your desire to follow Jesus after seeing what Jesus did to me?
um, yeah, so we're at the new facility. Dad passed away now. Oh gosh, I want to say it was 3 years ago. Mom will probably, if mom's listening, she'll probably correct me if I'm wrong, but I want to say it was almost 3 or 4 years ago, right? And somewhere in that range. So 3 or 4 years ago, we're at this new facility, right? We're in this new gym. Trey once again is like just preaching as he does, and I'm over here. I'm like, dude, like, why is this going on? And um, I'm at the gym, and I mean, you want me to kind of go into like how it happened, like just to kind
Dude,
of
just
go.
from your point of view, bro, talk to me about before your
um,
dad, after your dad, just whatever you want to share, brother.
yeah. So I mean, my relationship with my dad was always a great relationship. Like there was never anything like that. Like I love my dad to the ends of the world. So there was never anything there. So I remember specifically, like my dad had been going through some health issues for a little bit. I know Trey knows this. Like he had a couple like um, some medical issues just going on that we thought had were taken care of, but um, and it'll end with this, but it leads into another reason why like I am the way I am now because of the certain situations that he continued to do even after those health scares. Um, but I'm at the gym one day and I get a call from my mom, and she's like, "Hey, your dad, something's wrong with your dad. Like he's called the ambulance. You need to come to the house." And yeah, I remember specifically being at the gym and we had another coach there, and I told her I was like, "Hey, I'm out. I'm leaving." I texted Trey. I was like, "Hey, something's wrong with dad. Like I'll keep you updated." Um, so
You know
we
what's weird about
it's
that, real quick, dude? I was
yeah.
starting a trail run and I just knew something was wrong, like wrong, wrong. You hear like, hey, something's wrong with dad. When I started that trail run, there was something in my spirit that like something bad's gonna happen. I didn't know what, but continue. I just wanted to share that because I don't know if I've ever shared that with you because it was like this is serious.
We no, you haven't, but like I agree with you, dude, because it's that connection that me and you have together.
Yeah,
It's like, but
that
yeah.
gave me
So I
freaking
remember,
goosebumps when you said that.
but it's like, hey, hey, dude, like something's wrong with that. But obviously, we didn't know to the extent of what it was going to be. Got to the house, dad's not okay. He's kind of like sweaty, not feeling good. They take him to the hospital. He's not getting any better. Obviously, I'm texting you. I was like, hey, he's not doing well. Like I'm just gonna stay. I'm gonna be here. I don't know what's going on. And they take him to, we're at Randolph Hospital for, and once again, shout out to my wife Sarah. Like she's gonna come up so much. The drive to make sure that my I was okay and my mom was okay. Like she never even left my mom's side, not one bit, not one single time did my wife ever leave that woman or my dad. So um, I take my brother home. We go back to the house. Sarah's like, I'm gonna stay here and make sure they get there. I'm at home, and then I get a call at 3 a.m. Uh, 3 a.m. and Sarah's like, "Hey, uh, they're life flighting your dad to Baptist. You need to get up here because they don't think he's gonna make it through the night." So I was like, "All right." Um, and this whole time, I go get my brother. This whole time, I've never once did this to the extent that I did, but on my way there, I think I finally like truly understood of like truly asking for God's help in my own way. Like The entire time that I'm on the way there, I was like, God, please, whatever I have to do, whatever you need from me, please do this. Like I think that's the first time that I had like a true conversation with him, right? And then, needless to say, we get there. He's gone at that point. He's dead. And I'll never forget the look on my mom's face, my brother's face, and I was just like, "Holy cow!" Like, because if no one's ever experienced this, someone who's on life support, they have to come in and you have to have permission for them to pull life support. And mom doesn't know. My mom is like, she's like, I don't like. What do you want me to do? Like, she's looking at me like, and I'm just like, I don't know, mom. Like, I don't know what to do here. Like, I don't understand. Like, I don't understand what's going on. So we ended up he ended up passing away. And I remember the entire ride home. I was just like, what just happened? And I think I can relate to like kind of what Trey said he experienced with like when his brother like it feels like your soul's just like ripped out of your body. It feels like your soul is just like completely ripped out of your body and you don't know what to do with it. And I remember specifically texting you. I was like, hey, he's gone. And Trey sent me back a video of just like, dude, like I'm like, where you
I
at?
never forget that, bro. I never
Yeah.
forget filming that video ever.
Yep. I'm like, he's like, where are you at? Where are you at right now? And he's like, I'm gonna come see you later. And the ride home is like, I was just empty. Like I know you can. I was just empty on the ride. I was like, what just? And I was like, what? And I think coming from a different perspective and being that I was an atheist, like I was mad. I was like, dude,
Hmm.
I was like, what do I like? What? Why? Like, why did you take him from us? Like, why? Um, and then it was like, yeah, it was a whirlwind of a day. And then yeah, it was the first time. Long story short, it was the first time that I not only like had a true conversation with God on the way there. It's like, dude, I will do whatever. But then also being like, why? Like, why is he gone? And like, why did you take him? And like, truly feeling like an anger towards him, towards per se.
Yeah, man. I
So
think number one, thanks for sharing that. I think what's crazy, man, and it's unfortunate as humans is like, I mean, God has to take us to the end of ourselves, you know, and it really is that of like, that's such a powerful thing, brother, to be like, yo, the first time I truly had intimacy with God, because that's what you described there, right? If we like kind of go back and you're like watching Jesus change my life and you're like, man, what the heck? Why hasn't it happened to me? It's because there wasn't intimacy there until that point, you know? But I'm no different than you. God had to take me to the point of me taking my own life, you know? For you, he had to take your father away from you. And I think this is such a powerful spot to camp out at, bro, is like this question of like, why does suffering happen? Why do like bad things happen? Well, it's quite simple, I think, in my eyes and our view and relationship of God, is because as humans, we're too silly to depend on him otherwise. If everything's good in our life, we're like, oh, we're freaking good, dude. Life's good. We're crushing it. When your dad's taken from you, when your brother's taken from you, you're like, wow, there's like something like your soul it's like ripped out of your body and you feel empty. And I think that perspective that you shared, probably so many people can relate with, bro, that I can't, because I was an atheist. I had nothing to be mad at. I was like, oh, I'm just freaking gonna, you know, erase my life. But so you agree though, that's like, that was when you're like, all right, I'm this Jesus thing. Like, I don't know. I need it. I got to figure this out.
yeah, it was like, dude, I'm. It was like and I give you your flowers on this too because we kind of laugh about it now. It's like you know you joked with me. He's like, dude, I wrote the blueprint on what not to do.
Amen.
Um, and I think me seeing you go through what you went through with your brother and who you were at that point when I lost my dad, um, allowed me. It's like okay, like he did this for a reason, right? He did this for a reason, and he's trying to teach you something. And I think that was like the big perspective shift is like, hey, dude, I don't. Yes, I was mad at God for that short period of time. I was like, wow, why did you do this? But as the days went on, and like I had more conversations with you with where you're at in your walk and how you were able to guide me and tell me that, I was like, hey, like God is, and I remember you specifically telling me, hey, God is teaching you something right now, and you
Amen.
need to listen. And you need to listen, right? So it's like, um, and that was the point. I was like, okay, God, like, what are you trying to show me right now? Like, what are you teaching me here? Because I agree with you. I think that's something that like is like he breaks you down so hard. Like he breaks you down so deep to where you have no other choice but to go to him.
Hmm.
And I just truly like feel that way. And then there's something else too is like that really stood out to me is like, you know, I remember you specifically telling me this too is like, hey, like, dude, something worse is going to happen. Like something worse is going to happen down the road. And if you can't overcome this thing now, what's going to happen then? You know?
Yeah, one of my favorite things to think about, dude, and Scripture backs this, is like God breaks the man before he makes the man, right? And it's so important for us to keep that in mind. And dude, this is like we can't gloss over this. Not long after that, you remember we had a consultation at our gym with a guy, and his kids. It was either both of his kids or one of them. They got diagnosed with cancer, and he was like watching their kid die right in front of him. And it was
Yep.
like this perspective shift of like, okay, I lost my dad, but you obviously have a beautiful family, and you're like, well, at least I'm not watching my kid, because it is that, like, perspective is everything. It's like, man, it literally could always be worse. I don't care what, anybody here has going on in your life. I promise you, there are many people that have it way worse than you in this current moment. And that perspective is the power of perspective is everything in our lives.
Yep, it is 100%. Yeah, it's just like, yeah, somebody's. If you think it's bad for you, there's someone else out there that has it worse or has had it worse, and it's like,
100%.
and I think a lot of times too is like we forget how, and I'll use me and you for instance, how truly blessed me and you are to be able to come out on the other side of who we are now, versus those people who are going through it worse that don't have people like you in my like if I don't have people like you in my life or whoever we surround ourselves with in their life, they don't have those people to help guide them through those things. And they end up in a worse scenario.
Yeah. I think that's such a powerful thing, and the environment piece is everything. And then that's like I call it. You've heard me talk about this, Brandon, in all of our leadership training. Is like leadership is like the most beautiful burden you can carry in your life. It's like, to me, it's the greatest blessing ever, and I thank God every single day for all the souls, all the pressure, because it holds us to a very high standard to carry ourselves better, But you hit the nail on the head if you don't have those people. Like, I remember sending you that video. I'm like, dude, I set the blueprint for exactly what. Like, I was not worried at all, dude. I'm kid you not. When you lost your dad, of course, I felt the pain, but I was like, dude, the way that you've always been such a good follower. And obviously, I set the terrible example for that, but then rebounded with Jesus and showed the right way. I was like, dude, we got this, bro. I was literally talking to Jesus. I'm like, we're good. Like, Brandon's a stud. Like, we got you, God. I set the bad example, showed the good example. Like, we're good.
I'll never forget the text message you sent me out on my dad's funeral service when we
Funeral.
went and buried him.
Yeah.
You texted me, he's like, dude, I feel the energy coming off of you. Like it's
Yeah.
unreal. And
Yeah,
like
walking like a true
never
leader, bro. Yeah, walking like a true leader. And that's the other thing I think everybody has to keep in mind is you gotta put your people on, dude. Like, I'm sure that, like you said, you never forget it. Like, that felt probably something in your spirit of like, wow,
It
dude.
felt amazing. Like, okay, like I am doing something right. Like
Yeah.
I'm doing something right here.
Yeah, the power of our words is so important. It truly is so important, man, the power of our words in so many instances, especially if you're close with somebody. And I think, like, we're gonna do this in a 2-episode series. I think this is like a perfect place, dude, to like come to a halt, because this set Jesus up for like what we do now. Like, and what we'll do in episode 2 is talk about closing the gym down and the radical impact we have across the globe now.
For sure.
And teaching people about Jesus and helping them reclaim their souls and like all those things. But I wanted to kind of paint the early picture from church all the way to this moment, because this really sets up episode 2 of like, and we're just going to jump in from right here and talk about the work we do now and how God uses people like us, broken people who were far from him for a long time, to literally now shepherd his children, to the baptism. We'll get in all that. You guys have to stay tuned for episode 2. So make sure you tune in for that. But we'll be recording that soon. Brandon, do you have any closing thoughts or messages to wrap up episode 1?
Um, nah, man. I mean, it was this was fun. This was good, and it was good to like. I'm glad we were able to kind of do this and really talk about like, people see us now, right? They see us like doing the things that we do and the way we coach now, but they don't see or hear the what went on and what led us to this point. So I think it's very powerful for people to see and where like how far not only you or me have come, but us together as like
Mm-hmm.
friends, brothers, and as professionals have like what we've done to this point.
Yeah, I think I love that. And I'll end on this. We'll wrap the episode up on this before we do episode 2. And I think me and Brandon talked about this not long ago. What's really cool is as we've gotten closer with Jesus, I value our relationship more than anything in the world. And it's because Jesus teaches us what love and community actually is and unity is. And we had this conversation actually not that long ago, dude. Like the brotherhood and friendship that we have is probably one of the most rare things in the world. And I mean that, like it's more rare than like finding a wife. Like it really is. It's a really special thing. And I'm sure Brandon agrees with this, but my heart burns, dude, for like the male out there that like, dude, like if you can find that brother, dude, build that bond because it's something really special. And also one more thing on that is like we have such an interesting dynamic because Brandon, I've always kind of, I've always been his coach, boss slash leader, but also best friend and brother and partner. So if you don't think you can do all those things, let me and Brandon be the living testament you can. Like our life is so fruitful in every one of those areas. But what that requires is no ego, right? It requires no ego, no pride, and it requires hard chats. Like if we need to have them, we will. We've had many of them over the years, and it's just like any other relationship. But if you guys have that in your life, man, freaking flourish that thing because it's really special.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, fam. Stay tuned for episode 2. Peace.
Peace.